The Cincinnati Bengals pulled out a tight victory on Sunday Night Football, and their reward is they get to go up against the Cleveland Browns, who lost again this past week to the Philadelphia Eagles, falling to 1-5 on the season. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Cincinnati Bengals Cleveland Browns Week 7 matchup. But before we get into that, we do have a goal of getting to 100 new subscribers for the Week 7 prediction videos we have going out. We've been able to accomplish that goal over the past several weeks thanks to all the new members to the channel. And so thank you to everybody. And so this is your first time here. If you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to the Tracy Take. Leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win this game and why. And so, Ryan, I think the Cincinnati Bengals pulled out an impressive victory over the New York Giants. I know people might be saying it's just the New York Giants, but I think looking at the Cincinnati Bengals weakness, which is still going to be their offensive line, and the strength of the Giants team, which is that defensive line and that defense and the pressure that Joe Burrow was under, it was a solid victory still, I think, for Cincinnati, one that they needed to get onto the board here. And Cleveland Browns, on the flip side, though, had another just kind of disappointing, lackluster loss against what's supposed to be a good Philadelphia Eagles team, but still, once again, it's not. People are starting to really question things right now, especially, too, when Kevin Stefanski immediately comes out after the game saying Deshaun Watson is still going to be our quarterback. I think it almost made people angrier. So I want to throw it over to you. What was your kind of overall thoughts on the Cincinnati Bengals win last night? And then also, too, Kevin Stefanski saying Deshaun Watson is still going to be the QB moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, kind of starting off with Cincinnati Bengals, they are, to me, these two teams are very different, like the exact opposite of each other. The Cincinnati Bengals, they have a lot of talent. They just haven't quite put all the pieces together yet. They've had a couple close losses also. Like, you go look at that Ravens game, they really shouldn't have lost that. They should be on a 3-game win streak. If their defense gets a stop or two against Washington, which is a lot easier said than done, they can win that game. They were a questionable pass interference call away from beating the Chiefs, right? And they really should have beat the Patriots in week 1. I'm a Patriots fan, and like, you guys just didn't show up for that game. If you guys even had a semblance of a complete game plan, that game shouldn't have been close. And so,
to be fair, you guys barely did also. So,
well, we had a game plan. We had like a practice squad roster going into
and
it.
So Ramondre Stevenson and hope for the
best. Pretty much. And so, like, they've had a lot of very close games. They're just now starting to come out on the winning side of them. And this is kind of what we saw a few years ago from them. They had a slow start, but then they went on a 6-7 game winning streak. And all of a sudden they're in the division race and going to be have a home game in the playoffs. So, like, this is definitely not a team to rule out. Whereas, like, kind of getting over into the Browns, it's just been dysfunction upon dysfunction, like game after game. Deshaun Watson has literally quit a couple times on this team on 4th down, just saying like he's not going for it. And it's just it's hard to watch. And then for Kevin Stefanski to double down on Deshaun Watson, on one hand, I understand it. On the other, I don't really get why you would continue. Like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But you're paying him $50 million a year. He has a near $75 million cap hit the next 2 seasons. So, like, unless you want to do what the Broncos did with Russell Wilson in an even worse scenario and release him, you're kind of stuck with him as your quarterback.
Yeah.
So
no, I think more just as a fan standpoint, I just kind of want to see Jameis Winston come out there and start slinging the ball around, because I think that's kind of what the Browns offense really needs, because to be fair to everything, as hard as it is to be fair to just the overall performance that's been going out on the field, the Cleveland Browns offense is just decimated. They had another offensive lineman go down with an injury. Nick Harris fractured his fibula. Jerome Ford also hurt his hamstring, and so that's probably going to be some time. Elijah Moore and Martin Emerson also left the game as well with rib injury. So that's a receiver. And then that was a cornerback also too as well. But so that, to give some fairness, but that being said, though, too, this team just in general, I think, especially offensively, just needs just a kick, just a boost. They're the worst offensive when it comes to yards total in the game. 30th in passing yards and then 28th in rushing yards allowed. I know there's a lot of talk about when Nick Chubb's going to be coming back. Hopefully that maybe helps out a little bit. But also, too, don't want them to rush him, especially, too, with how decimated this offensive line is. But I just think almost I get why you're doing that now. I mean, still week 7. Your season's not technically over, even though it definitely feels like it. But at what point are you just going to want to make a change? Because now at this point, we were talking about this with the family as well. And Kevin Stefanski's pretty sure he just got a new contract this past offseason as well. But but at some point, they're like, you're still going to be going with this guy. And I understand you're paying him a lot of money, but you also need to go and try and win games as well. And it's doesn't I maybe just need like a kickstart to the offense, kind of like pulling the goalie out in the NFL. In the NHL. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. With the Bengals, though, I thought that was a good win last night, and it was just a good grinded out game. That was not the type of team that they really wanted to go up against. And luckily for them, I think with Malik Neighbors being out, I think that helped kind of the defense not have to worry too much about the passing game with Daniel Jones and company. And so there's a little bit of saving grace there. But a tough game for them offensively to go and win. It was kind of crazy. We were recording during the game that was going on, and we were kind of a little flabbergasted that the main difference in the game was Joe Burrow's 47-yard touchdown run. Which was epic. That was absolutely hilarious. So, but he did it. You know, he's got some wheels, not Lamar Jackson wheels, but close enough, I guess.
He can move. So, he can move.
Yeah, but they were able to grind it out here, and so kind of coming to this game, the Browns team, I think, when fully healthy, I think this would be such a phenomenal game for both sides of the ball, because I think the Browns are maybe more well-rounded, but there's a lot more explosiveness on the Bengals offensive side of the ball that could keep the game really close and even exploit a healthy Browns defense. But the Bengals defense just is not that great in general. The Browns are just super banged up and can tell just like the lowest morale, it feels like.
That's what I was going to say, was even if this team was healthy, the rally behind Deshaun Watson right now just feels so low.
Well, if they were healthier, maybe there would be a little bit more, things they can hang their hat on. But especially right now with all the injuries that's going on, I also think too. Then to be fair, I guess a little bit to the morale it's just got to be kind of devastating to constantly keep seeing your buddies go down and down week in and week out, and you have all these new guys that are coming in. And no offense to the new guys that are coming in, but you build a rapport with these guys over a whole offseason, over a whole career, and then you see these guys get devastating leg injuries. And that maybe has something to do with it also. That being said, though, still professionally, you still got to put the product on the field. And I also think, too, then there's maybe some other locker room leadership aspects with Sean Watson and whatnot that are being questioned. So, but that being said, though, kind of going into this game here, I know it's a road game for Cincinnati, but I just think the Browns are not going to be able to exploit the inefficiencies on the Bengals defense. And at the same time, too, the Bengals, to your credit earlier, should have a lot better record now up to this point and have been playing better over the past several weeks. So I do think that they're going to be able to pretty easily win this game against the Cleveland Browns here. And so I'm going to go with the Bengals here. I will say probably something like 28-13.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bengals also. This Browns team is now – they are – them, I think the Patriots, probably the Raiders I would put in this category now. Every team has them circled on their schedule, but for the wrong reason. This is like a get right game. Cincinnati is gonna try to establish what they want to do in their team identity against a team like the Cleveland Browns. And I think this one could get ugly because this is a division opponent that also knows the Cleveland Browns very well. They know how to attack this team just schematically. And so I'm going to go Cincinnati. I'm going to say 35-10. I think it's going to be a pretty big beatdown. That bad. So let's go ahead and let's wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this AFC North matchup. Will it be the Cincinnati Bengals? Will it be the Cleveland Browns? And on that, we'll see you guys next time.